Thank you guys for coming back to Cobra TV, and today we're going to talk about an interview that was posted on PlayStation Blog with Sean Murray, and it elaborated just a little bit more on No Man's Sky Online. Not too much. It's still cryptic, but we got more elaboration. It seems more clear that when he's not calling it an MMO, he's referring to the financial side, just like it says in the blog post, which we'll go over in the video. And it elaborates a little bit more on when it's said in the blog post, recognizable online elements. A lot of us, including myself, was thinking that we would recognize online elements that we already see in No Man's Sky, but he elaborates more that it's recognizable elements that you would see in heavily online games that we've played before. So it poses the question: what does that mean? What games could he possibly be talking about? And I'm going to ask you guys to post down below what you guys think, and we'll play some clips here from Sean Murray in that article.
Yeah, actually, can we zero in on that for a moment? Because you talked about Beyond is going to have a massively improved online component. You're making big changes to the online structure in No Man's Sky. Can you elaborate a little bit on what's going to be changing there?
Yeah, it's funny. We've learned, this really important lesson, which is we don't talk about things before we can just show them and know exactly what they are. No Man's Sky in particular is really important because people do get excited when they see the game and start to imagine all the possibilities, right? But what we have said is it's going to have some elements that you would recognize from other very kind of heavily online games, right?
Okay, so he says it's going to have elements that you could recognize from very heavily online games. So that's a bit of an elaboration on what we got in here, because what I was more or less thinking when it said recognizable online elements, that we would recognize elements that we already had from No Man's Sky plus more. But here he's definitely elaborating that no, this means you're going to recognize elements from very heavily online games. So I would like for you guys to give your opinion in the chat. What do you think he means? Well, I know what he means by that. But some elements are from games that are heavily online games. Are we talking Eve? Are we talking Elite Dangerous? What heavily online games would you guys think is Sean Murray is talking about here? Because we got a lot of heavily online games. We've got, Star Wars, big MMO game, and think MMO, because this. I believe that this No Man's Sky Online is so MMO-ish that he has to state that they don't consider it MMO, so that they're not going to charge. They're not going to charge a monthly subscription just to play the game. He goes on to say he doesn't want to separate the community. So we're talking about something big here. It's not something that's small. This is something big, and it's MMO-ish. At least that's what it seems like to me. So what kind of heavily online games do you think he's pulling elements from? We've got a couple things in the chat here. We have Jim Jam Man saying cross-play for sure, Cobra. Ooh, I really hope so. We got the Geeky Pikachu coming in with Star Trek. J-Spot J coming in with Star Wars Battlefront. Matt Barrett saying MMO-ish. Then we've got Chrono Garcia. That's the thing, we don't know because he didn't give us any game to compare because there's so many different online games. We got Vaskarn saying, thank you, Cobra, for accepting my friend request on Facebook the other day. Oh, man, thank you for reaching out, bud. I love to talk to people. So, yeah, that's definitely... I'm glad you did that, bud. We got J-Spot J saying Overwatch. So, yeah, I know he wasn't specific on what kind of game, but a lot of heavily online games, they usually, they got something in common with each other. You've got, they're all great. It's the content that makes them different. Yes, some have this, some don't. Some have that, and others don't. But we got to look at the general overall elements that are in heavily online games. We got No Man's Sky Ventures saying Monster Hunter isn't fully online and is online-ish, so I think it will be player-created lobbies and missions like Monster Hunter and White Knights Chronicles. THDI said, "Did you see my comment, Cobra Bro? Can you share the link? Can you share the link to the interview?" I sure can. Yes, I did. I don't know if I seen your comment. A lot of people are tweeting me. I want to give a shout out to the person that did tweet this at me. Or he messaged me in DM. This is, I guess you would call him Zyro, at Sean Sky. Oh, Sean Sky. He changed his, I think he changed, I don't know. But Sean Sky, thank you so much for tweeting this at me and letting me know about this. But let's go ahead and continue listening here for a second because he says a couple more things. So let's listen.
That we're really excited about, that we've been watching the community. Community hasn't been asking for these features, but we can tell in the way that they're playing. We can tell from the kinds of feedback they give us that these kind of online elements will really resonate well, right?
But you're not turning it into an MMO. You're not going to start charging a monthly fee for No Man's Sky.
Right. It was really important that we say that. We don't want to split the audience. We're not going to charge subscription. We're not going to have in-app purchases. This is a free update, but it's one that changes online quite a bit. It also brings VR, which was, I guess the best way to explain it was at the start of the year we had 3 updates planned out that were going to land kind of across the year. But as we were looking at them, they work so much better together than they did separately.
And so again, when he said that it's not an MMO, is it? His drill down on that was no, we didn't want to split the audience. So I still think that we are talking about a really huge update to No Man's Sky Online that is going to feel MMO-ish. I know that's a little risky to say, but it goes on to say here, No Man's Sky Online includes a radical new social and multiplayer experience which empowers players everywhere in the universe to meet and play together. While this brings people together like never before and has many recognizable online elements, we don't consider No Man's Sky to be an MMO. It won't require a subscription, won't contain microtransactions, and will be free for all existing players. Now, again, here, when he says it's not an MMO, it's been pointed out by several people that he's talking about the financial side of an MMO. He's not talking about the playing mechanics of an MMO. When he says they don't consider it an MMO, financially, it won't require a subscription and microtransactions, and it'll be free for all existing players. So, there he is saying the financial parts of why it's not an MMO. And then in the interview, he was asked again about it not being an MMO, and he said we did not want to split the audience. So it was very important for us. I really believe that with No Man's Sky Online, there are several things that we can look at, that we could be getting to several different games that we can look at. And I think that's exciting because I think that we're getting a lot more than what we think we're getting. And he goes on to say somewhere in this interview that the updates, we'll play it here in a second, but he goes on to say something like, it's the way we saw them playing. Of course, that's paraphrasing, of course. And so, what is the big thing that that people are doing that they could look at as far as online goes, right? So if they look at things, let's go to the galacticatlas.com right away. The first thing that you see when you go to the Galactic Atlas, nomansky.com, what do you see? You see this galactic map, and what is on this map? They're hubs. Every one of these. That's like the main attraction for the Galactic Atlas. Of course, you could track other things like you could track the events that they run, the community events that they run. But on here, you have hubs. And that's what these are. So I really believe that No Man's Sky Online is going to finally give us a way to build true colonies, true hubs I think the colonies was just, like a little test of waters a little bit, see how people like it, see what they say about it. And I really believe that No Man's Sky Online is going to bring MMO-ish kind of things that we could get together and build hubs. And we're talking about cities. We talk about Sam Swain being there, and cities is a very controversial debate for some reason. But I really think that with everything that's been done to this game, especially for it to work in VR, I really believe that we're looking at maybe building more, because one of the things that was on, let me see if I can find it. One of the things that was on the list there, I don't know if I could find my picture. There it is. One of the things that was on the list here was more base building depth. It's right there, more base building depth. Now that could be for hubs. It could be for us building hubs in No Man's Sky Online. Therefore, us creating the cities. Of course, there's not going to be cities everywhere, but there could be at these hubs. So right there, I mean, we got the No Man's Sky or galacticatlas.com website, hubs everywhere. That's the main attraction on here, and it's one of the biggest reasons for the Galactic Atlas. Truly, I think that they had this planned from the beginning, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they created the Galactic Atlas, is because they were going to implement ways for us to build actual hubs in the game, and it just didn't seem like it was. I don't like a thing yet, because we could only see 4 avatars at once. And I believe that with No Man's Sky Online, that's going to change drastically, and we're going to be able to see quite a few people. So therefore, going to a hub, traveling through space to get to a hub, this time is going to be way cooler, because we could see lots of buildings being built everywhere, and see a lot of people interacting, trading, and stuff like that. Maybe even creating your own store and selling your own things that you go out and mine. You go out and you can use the refiner to make certain things that take a long time, or it's a real grindy. Maybe you could set up a shop in these hubs, and I'm just spitballing here, and sell that stuff for people who are like me and super lazy. I would rather spend my units or something at your store rather than me laying down a refiner and trying to refine stuff and mine stuff. So I'd be paying your store a visit. But that's an online element, and very heavily online games. So are we looking at something like that? Again, I'm just spitballing. These are not things that I've learned or that are on the internet or in articles or anything like that. Online is very hush-hush at the moment, but these are definitely things that are worth talking about. Let's check in with that chat. No Man's Sky Ventures in the chat saying, think it will be more like 12 to 16 people in lobbies. Hub, doubt it will be hundreds, but who knows? Yeah, exactly, who knows? We don't know what they... the one thing about Hello Games is that they're breaking the mold on what's normal in the gaming industry, right? We've had procedural games in the past, but nobody's done a procedural game like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky set the bar really, really high on space games. So you've got the space legs, you've got space, you've got, travel, big planets. So they've definitely set the bar pretty high, and I think that everything that Hello Games wants to do, they want to set the bar high on that. So it's, and again, that's one thing, that one of the things that's on that other list there is larger multiplayer lobbies. VR support, more depth and variety to NPCs, which we know we're getting because we've seen the NPCs walking around. Base building depth could go hand in hand with hubs and online. Then we got replace orbs with full character models. That means beyond 4 avatars. And then larger multiplayer lobbies in No Man's Sky Online. Everything on this list is going to be in this update, and everything in this list could be packed with features, sub-features, like the larger multiplayer lobbies. Why? Why? There's going to be sub-features there on why. More depth and variety to NPCs. What do they mean by that? They walk? What else? More base building depth. Why? What's in it? What's it do? Does that mean the building has been revamped and that it's a lighter asset? But let's go ahead and take a look at that rest of this interview here. We'll play it. And in a few minutes here, he's going to be the interviewer is going to describe what it was like playing VR, and I just love his description. We'll get to that here in just a second.
Agree. I actually just, really quickly, I wrote up a quick impressions piece having played this, and one of the things I said in that was that just sitting in space in my ship is something I love to do. I love these updates that you keep coming out with for No Man's Sky, because it gives me an excuse to come back to this universe and just chill. You know, it's a supremely chill experience, and I think that VR takes that to the next level. Especially, we just saw someone do it on that screen over there. They're playing it. That you go into hyper activate your hyperdrive, and then you have the purple and the pink streaks going past you. You can look to the side of your ship and see just like you're in hyperspace. You're doing this thing. It's crazy. It's a sci-fi dream come true. Like I feel like there were. I seem to remember you talking a lot before the game came out about how this was a game that you wanted to make as someone who grew up loving.
So that is one heck of an explanation, or just talking about what it was like being in this game from somebody that had a chance to play it, and it just got goosebumps all over me. But those are the kind of the highlights of the article there. And there's just, like I said, there's not a whole lot of new information, just a little bit of elaboration on some of the MMO parts, some of the No Man's Sky Online parts. So comment down below what you guys think. What games have you played that were heavily online, and let me know what the commonalities are in between those games that we can pull some inspiration from and speculate on what he could be talking about are the common things, the common elements that are found in heavily online games that we would recognize. So comment those down below. And the last thing what I want to talk about today is the third rudder, the PS4 foot move control thing that they have coming out. That would be a perfect fit for No Man's Sky, but we don't have confirmation that it's going to be compatible with No Man's Sky. But I have a feeling that it could be, just because, well, I'll talk about it here in a second, but it says add the third rudder to your PlayStation VR gear. Experience foot-powered free locomotion and already more than 20 PlayStation VR compatible games and enhance your gaming experience. Now, this thing comes out this summer. And if I'm Hello Games and I'm using the Move controllers and I'm making the entire game of No Man's Sky VR, and I'm trying to develop a way that people can move without teleportation, although teleportation is in No Man's Sky as well, for like a comfort level. They also said that there's comfort levels also for flying and things like that. So there's that to look forward to. But if you're Hello Games and you know that this is coming out, they're sending these to developers. I guarantee you these third rudders are in Hello Games Studio at the moment, just because they're Hello Games, just because they are a very well-established developer. These probably were sent to them for free, just like the PSVR headset was. It was in their studio all the way back in 2014. It was in their studio. So they've been working with the PSVR back when it was called Project Morpheus. So I guarantee you the third rudders are in the studio at Hello Games. So if they're developing a game like No Man's Sky, the entire game is going to be No Man's Sky. I mean, the entire game is going to be VR. And they're trying to work out free locomotion with the Move controllers. I can almost bet that they would consider the third rudders as an option to use for free locomotion. And this does come out this summer, probably close to the same time that No Man's Sky is getting released. So, and I mean, even if, like, couldn't this just be a patch in? It's a great idea for VR. And Hello Games, even if they didn't think about it, which I think is ridiculous to even say, but even if there's a reality where they didn't think of this as an option, but then it comes out and they're shocked to like, oh, we didn't know this was coming out, which I think is ridiculous. But they could easily say this is a better way for free locomotion. Let's go ahead and just patch it in. We'll make it work. Like, now available to use with the third rudder. It's interesting nowadays how games can be patched from the studio to your living room. So this is definitely something I got on my radar And I'm only going to be purchasing this if it's compatible for No Man's Sky. And I'm not going to purchase it until I see somebody use it, until I see it confirmed for No Man's Sky, and until I see somebody use it and I read a couple of your reviews. Not IGN, not the No, not anybody else. I'm going to wait until somebody normal, like one of us, buys it and gives a review of it on YouTube. So I'm going to wait, watch, buy. And but it's definitely on my list of things that I would be good for No Man's Sky, I think, especially with the free locomotion that No Man's Sky is going to have. Oh yeah, there's both No Man's Sky Adventures. There's both. There's free locomotion and there's teleportation. The teleportation is added into the game so that it's there for people who get motion sickness real easy and they can't handle the free locomotion. So they're both confirmed to be in the game. It's the teleportation is not just for testing. It's a comfort. They called it a comfort. A comfort setting. The teleportation is a comfort setting, and then they got the free locomotion where you can just move around. Well, that's all I got for you for today, guys. As always, I love you. Thank you so much for coming out to Cobra TV. Don't forget to comment down below what heavily online games do you think Sean Murray's getting inspiration from. Now, there's a lot of games he didn't specify which ones, but there is common elements between all heavily online games that he could be talking about, the common elements. But comment those theories and speculation down below. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Until next time.